All right, the nuts are set at 450 or 475. So it was well over 1,000, and I had to get the torque wrench, step on the torque wrench and get these bolts off because they were over 1,000. So we're using the Rigid R86211 half-inch drive, 33 millimeter. All right, so I got it on bottle jacks. So if I got a flat tire, let's see how long it would take to take the wheel off. That one I kind of cheated. I loosened that one up. 2, 3, 4. I got 8 lug nuts. Some might have 10. 5, 6, 7, 8. All right. 8 on the top. All right, now if you got a spare, get your spare, bring it back and throw whichever one on that you don't want. So the seal, they said it was a caliper leaking, but I replaced the caliper and it's not the caliper. Put new axle grease in it, and it stinks like axle grease, not brake fluid. So this is a bearing seal on the axle. So got the seals from Freightliner. We're going to take that apart and see what we got. All right, this is a 98 MT 45 Freightliner. It's a lot of FedEx companies use them. A lot of FedEx locations, most of them use them. All right, so this is the only socket, special socket you're going to need. This is 2 3/8. Okay, 2 3/8. That's the socket. Special socket you're going to need. The manual spoke about a special socket, but it showed a 6-point socket, not this special groove 4-prong socket. There's only one, so once you take the caliper off and you take the axle out, there's only one. So this is what it looks like. It said put electrical tape on these threads when you're putting the hub back on, and then take the electrical tape off after you get your bolts on. I got a new axle because I'm going to put new brake pads on. Figured this is the best time to do a complete brake job. There's the seal, and there's the inner bearing. I'll take the seal out, take the inner bearing out, and you can see how it was leaking, and it wants to look like a brake job, but it just bleeds right through the disc, through that bad seal. But I'm sure it's the original seal. So this is going to be it for this side. And I'll do the same for the other side. So a pretty simple job. Just got to have the right parts. So this is the seal that I got from Freightliner. That's the part number, MT4598. It goes by the VIN number, so the last 6 of the VIN number, this is all the part numbers. That's the smaller one, and then the larger one, this is the part number here. The bearings here, the seal says USA, but on the other side, the bearings show Japan, so I don't think they're Timken. I think the replacements are Timken. But the bearings are here. Here they are. They are immaculate. This is the part number here. And then it says there, Japan. So they're not Timkins, but I don't see anything wrong with these bearings on the surface. But I'm just going to assume, because the seal burnt out, I'm going to put brand new bearings in. Have you gone this far to not change the bearings? It's pretty much the cheapest thing you're going to have to replace on this truck is bearings and seals. So it's going to get all new bearings and seals. And that's it for now. I wonder how tight these bolts are going to be. This is not going to be fun. Alright, so these bolts are not easy. I got the 1/2-inch rigid on it. I tried the air cat. It laughed at the air cat. So I took one bolt out. Notice there's a lot of thread seal on there. So I just put a torch on the outside of the bolt. Got it a little bit warm. It didn't even have it there for more than 5 seconds. And that bolt just screwed right out. They're not torqued very high. I'll check the manual on what they're supposed to be set at. But really what's binding me up is the cold thread sealant that's in there. So you don't want to put heat directly on the fluid. You'll start a nice little bonfire. So just right here on the outside, just to loosen up that thread sealant. A little bit of, you can use propane, MAP gas, it's all the same, it don't matter. A little bit of heat. And that bolt came flying out. Yeah. And I just put it in the tire to keep it from moving. So that worked out pretty well right there. So I finally got all the bolts out. And the last one had the most thread sealer on it. Still a little hot there. Took a little extra heat. So I'm going to pop this seal out, get the last bearing out, and put the new stuff in. Here's the old one, and there's the new one. 6-bolt. Got the disc from Freightliner. Finally got the seal out. So I just flipped the hub on the other side, hammered on the bearing, and then the seal came out. I'm going to put the new seal in. This is half of it. The other half broke off, me trying to pull it from the other side. So this is it there. So I said, let me just flip it over, hammer it from the other side, and it popped out without me ruining any of the edges there. I'm going to match up, make sure I got the right bearings and the seal. Of course, everything is from Freightliner by the VIN number, so everything, when I order it that way, everything matches up to a T. Have not had a problem going to Freightliner with a VIN number and not getting the right part. They always give me the exact right part with no issue. So I got the bearings in there, and I lined them up. So you want to have the spring on the inside. You can see the seals on this side. So it didn't look like they matched at all. It looked like it was the wrong part, but it fits perfectly. It's going to be a nice seal. I don't think it's going to be as nice as the other one, but that's what they got. So I'm going to put it in. It's going to be the air side and the oil side. Just get a little wooden punch or something and just nice and easy seal that in there. So this tri-seal, I really like this tri-seal. I don't like the one that they sold me. It only has one seal. So I found the tri-seal online. I'm going to order that one. And I'll just roll with this one for now. But I'm not doing the other one until I get this tri-seal, because it looks a a lot better. There's 3 ribs on the inside instead of just 1. So I don't think it's going to last as long as it did. And I got a 4-inch PVC pipe. Looks like it's going to fit perfect. And I'll just slightly tap that in, cut it nice and straight, and it's going to fit perfectly around that circle. 4-inch PVC, schedule 40. I'll give that a shot, put a piece of wood on it, see how we do. So I got the seal in, the PVC pipe worked pretty good. Got the bolts in, got the Loctite, got the bearings. So now it's just throwing it back on the spindle. Okay, so the new bearings are on. I put the electrical tape to protect the threads. I was going to get this hub on. I thought I had the wrong bearings. Then I checked the bearings, the older ones with the new ones, and the older ones are kind of stretched out, and the new ones just need to give a little bit of hammer, a little bit of sledgehammer with some wood, and I used a jack to line it up right so I wouldn't damage the bearings. And it's on, baby. I'm happy. Everything's lining up good. Now I just need to put the front bearings on and the locking nut. So before you put the hub on, you want to add oil inside the hub. You want to oil up the bearings and fill the hub on the inside as much as you can so you can get some lubrication on those new bearings. So this is the axle nut you're going to need for a Freightliner MT 45. This is the part number 648476. A 1/2-inch drive. It's the only one that fits. And this is from the kit. The kit 11 model 648636. 5-piece spindle kit, power built. The auto parts stores used to rent these out, but I guess not anymore. And just tighten it down. So the wheel bearing requires 120 to 140 pounds of torque. The locking nut, so I just put it at 130 foot per pound. So this is the tool, Freightliner MT 4598. It shows a 6-point locking nut, but there's no locking nut. This is what was in there. It's special socket. They say that. So that's the part number. Make sure it's at 130 foot-pound, and make sure the tire rotates smoothly with no issues before you put the axle back in. And be sure to try and get a new gasket. To me, this is a lot cleaner than using the gasket material. You don't want any debris inside the axle causing any harmful effects. Or if you want to just take it off and check the torque, you can just take it off and check the torque, not having to redo a new gasket, because you already got a nice new one already set. So you can remove it and check the torque on that axle spindle maybe next year or so, or another year or so, just to check it. Make sure everything's running smooth on your new axle seals and new rear brakes, and try to be sure to get new bolts or new screw on the caliper. There's only one screw holding the whole caliper on. So I've seen the new ones. I got new ones to put in. I'm going to take the old ones out, and it's got some red Loctite on it, and it looks a lot better because now they have a star adapter and not the Allen key. So it should be a lot more durable than the old caliper screw. So after you got the axle in, put your Loctite on there. You want the nuts to be 40 to 50 foot-pound. So I just put 45. I'm going to torque it now, and then we'll be all good to go.